Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the October meeting of the Policy and Resources Committee held tonight on Zoom. This is Tuesday, the 6th of October. As usual, the Council would like to advise that this meeting is being live streamed to YouTube and it will subsequently appear on the Council's website. I'm going to please ask that all of the mobile devices are switched off or to silent during the meeting. Item 1 is apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillors Abley, Gardner, Grayson, McAloon and Smith.
Thank you, and I've also received an apology for absence from the Town Clerk, and Mr Anson will be standing for the Town Clerk tonight on all relevant items. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to declare an interest in item 12 as the Secretary of the Youth and Community Centre, which is one of the partnerships in that proposal.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other declarations of interest?
None received, Chair.
That's great. Okay, item 3 is members' dispensations. I have no requests for dispensations for this meeting. Item 4 is public questions, and we have no public questions tonight. Item 5 is planning. Members are requested to consider the weekly list of planning applications. There is one on there on the list. Does anybody wish to speak on the planning application?
Yes, Chair, I would like to speak if I may.
No problem, Councillor.
Yeah. Chair, I'd like to move that we send a letter to DC Planning Department to strongly support this application and move that we waive standing orders to do so. Chair members, Western Storage, if you do not know, is a significant employee in Spennymoor. 9 years ago, when the first application for this site was received, officers initially recommended refusal, but the refusal was overturned at committee on the basis it would see regeneration of an old pit head. At this time, approximately 20 people worked there, with around 200 caravans stored. Through the initial application, the applicant had plans to grow the storage business and develop small industrial sites. The developer succeeded superbly with these plans. Currently, there are approximately 350 people working there. Since coming out of the lockdown, the caravan storage has risen again to 540, with 40 waiting a place. Furthermore, Western Storage is doing so well, it has attracted an online electrical store to base a warehouse there. This company's business has tripled over the lockdown, and it looks like expanding even further in the next 2 months. This application reflects the need for an extension at the business park to allow for further extension. Chair, the last expansion was quickly taken up by 2 local companies, adding 70 and 25 jobs to the business. This council should show its support for Western Storage, for the Western Storage application. I move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I have Councillor Clive or Liz Madison with a request to speak.
Chair, it's Councillor Liz Madison, and I do support this application. Councillor Thompson is quite correct as regard to the number of jobs and the benefits that this will bring to local residents in the form of employment for a new warehouse. They have produced a lot of upgrades on this site over the last few years, and on the application that has come through, it's also indicating that Durham County Council are going to do some improvements to the access as well. So I think overall it will be a benefit to the town and to the people of the town with employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. That appears to be moved and seconded then that the Council send a letter of support with regards to this planned application. Are we all in favour of that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. Item 6 is the accounts for payment, and 6A is the supplier payments for September. Members are requested to note the lists of approved payments totaling £13,377.65 made during September 2020.
I'll move it, Chair, if no one's got any questions.
Thank you. And 6B is the paid accounts. Members are requested to note the payment of accounts by BACS in the sum of £79,462.53 and payments by direct debit in the sum of £21,334.08 for September 2020.
I'll move,
Thank you, Councillor.
I'll move acceptance, Chair.
That's fine. Okay, item 7 is the National Salary Award, and members are requested to consider the report of the Finance Manager. Is the Finance Manager on the meeting, Colin?
No, she's not. She's not. So I'm picking up her reports as well, Chair, if that's okay.
Okay, would you like to take us through the report, Mr. Ransom?
Yeah, the purpose of the report is just to inform members of the 2021 National Salary Award, and that the NGSC has now agreed the pay rate scales. There's an increase of 2.75, and this is to be implemented from the 1st of April 2020, and members are recommended to receive and note the information in relation to the salary award and the associated additional costs.
Thank you. Can I ask members to note the report? Okay, and item 8 is Local Authority Discretionary Grant Fund. Again, this is a report of the Finance Manager. Can I ask the Facilities Manager to take us through the report?
Yeah, through you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to inform members of the position in relation to the COVID-19 related funding from Durham County Council. Members will recall that during the update, we presented a report to Policy and Resources on the 4th of August that the Town Council had been awarded £10,000 in relation to Middlesmoor Community Centre. It later became apparent that the authority, the Town Council, should not have been awarded this grant, and it has been subsequently reclaimed by Durham County Council. That's the bad news. The good news is that the Town Council were notified on the 4th of September that they've been successful with the application for a local authority discretionary grant, and this has been awarded at £6,200 towards the council. It's recommended that members receive and note the information on the COVID-19 related funding.
Thank you, Mr. Ransom. Councillor Thompson?
Yes, Chair, I just wondered if that £6,200 was ring fenced for Middlesmoor Community Centre, or is that not applicable?
Through you, Chair, I think the funding is there to ideally to be spent on premises or buildings in general. So it's not ring fenced to Middleston Moor.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, members are again asked to note that report. Item 9 is the Budgetary Control Report, again from the Finance Manager. Can I ask Mr. Ransom to take us through this?
Yeah, it's just for information. All members have had this report. The purpose is to present the financial position of the Council 2021 budget as of the 31st of August, 5 months of the current financial year. As I say, members have had the report, and if they've got any questions, I'm more than happy to take them back to the Finance Manager.
Thank you. I think what is good to note about this is that after the first 5 months, we're projecting an outturn of an underspend of £17,405, which is probably to be expected considering that we haven't run many of the events we would normally run. But on the other hand, we've provided a lot of support to other causes in this time, and that's a testament to the hard work of the council. So thank you for that. Members have any questions regarding the financial position? Doesn't appear so. Okay, I ask members to note that report again, please. Item 10 is registration of town or village green. The members will note in their packs that they were accidentally sent a draft, and it has been the full report has been circulated around to members via email. It's a fairly simple report, but one which is quite a complicated area of business, I think. And what I would like to do as chair of the meeting is defer this until the next meeting of this committee to allow us to get some additional information on that and to allow us to properly consider what's been put forward via email. I'm not certain that everybody's had a chance to fully get that report read tonight. So I'm going to defer that till the next meeting. Events update is item 11. This is a report of the town clerk. Mr. Ransom, I ask you to take us through this report.
Yes, through you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to update members as to the current position with regards to events. Due to the rising rate of COVID infections and the related deaths, the government have announced further restrictions, as members will be aware. Unfortunately, it will therefore be necessary to cancel the following events: the Halloween party, fireworks display, civic carol service rather, the civic dinner, Santa's Grotto, Christmas lights switch on event, as these cannot be held in safely in accordance with the new restrictions. A staff member has suggested that the Mayor and Santa could possibly record a Christmas message for the children of Spennymoor, which could be put on the council's website and social media, and this could take place at the same time of the Christmas tree switch on. It's obviously very important to the council and its staff and the public that some type of act of remembrance takes place on Remembrance Sunday. However, this event will have to be subject to restrictions. Officers have spoken with the local clergy, the parade marshal and the police, and the following is suggested in order to ensure that an event can be held in a safe manner in line with the legislation and prevent individuals and the town council being fined. So it's proposed that, as suggested, that the service in the town hall is cancelled, that the parade itself is cancelled. However, a small service is held at the cenotaph, and this service is filmed and live streamed on YouTube, and the recording be subsequently placed on the town council website. That the area is being measured and the 30 people can attend in the area in front of the cenotaph in a safe manner. This would exclude the town council staff, the clergy, any honour guard, a bugler, standard bearers and the parade marshal who will be on the paved area. 30 people would include the Deputy Lord Lieutenant, the Mayor and consort. It's proposed that the organisations that usually lay the wreath are contacted and asked if one representative from the organisation wish to present a wreath, or the content of the wreaths can be laid as below. Members should note that more than that wish to attend the service, the numbers of the organisation should be no more than 30. It is suggested that members could attend other areas to, when I'm saying members, councillors attend other areas in order to lower the numbers attending in Spennymoor, with 2 wreaths needed to be laid at the memorials and cemeteries at Tudor as well. There are also services at Kirk Merrington and Byers Greens. These are not run by the town council, and therefore the organisations of these are being contacted to ascertain what form of events they intend to take place and whether there's any space for town councillors to attend and lay a wreath. So basically what we're suggesting is that people bring the wreaths in to the town council in advance, and then we would collect them and lay them on the morning of the event, but equally people would have the opportunity after the event, should they wish to bring wreaths and lay them at their own time. And the organisations will be asked to leave the wreaths at the town hall in the week leading up to the service and by 10 o'clock on the Thursday the 5th. It is proposed that all clergy have completed their part, and that the names of all those who've left wreaths will be read out by the parade marshal, and this would form part of the live streaming and live recording. It should be noted it's subject to DCC giving permission for a road closure to go ahead, and at present time we have not been given such permission. If permission is not granted, then the event would need to be scaled down even further. Due to the number of people already allocated to the paved area, it would mean that in addition to those, the Deputy Lieutenant and the Mayor could only attend in a safe way. We would need to put out some strong messages that would have to be issued from the Town Council to the public via press releases, social media and the Town Council website, and messages given out at such as church services in the lead up to the event, and encourage the public not to attend and to take note of the Council's COVID restrictions challenges. As part of the media campaign, the Council could also take out a full page in Spenny News to provide an A4 poster relating to the remembrance so that residents can cut out and place in their windows. Funding for the Royal Legion would normally collect during the remembrance service in the town hall for the poppies and the badges are sold, which monies would normally come to the around £400 mark, and it's suggested that the council make a donation of £500 to the Royal British Legion from the Community Grant Fund. So the proposals are that members note the challenges in relation to the event and that it's been cancelled due to the inability to comply with the new COVID guidance and legislation, and that members note the two proposals for the Remembrance Sunday event and agree that officers can make decisions closer to the time as to which will go ahead and the implications of the road closure, as there will be little time to bring a further report back to the council. Members are requested to agree to the cancellation of events outlined in section 512, and the members agree to the suggestions in section 5.2 and 5.1 and 5.2, and that standing orders are waived to allow officers to carry out the organisation of the remembrance event, and that government guidelines and legislation in relation to COVID and gatherings be able to be complied with.
Thank you, Mr. Vanson. Quite an in-detail report there, and I think it's one that we may have expected for quite some time now, but nobody really wanted to read. I certainly didn't. Well, you know, one of the highlights of being involved with this authority is the great events that we put on throughout the year. No more so than, of course, our involvement with Remembrance Sunday, and making sure that we remember those who've gone before us. So it is quite a devastating report, really, I think, but probably an inevitable one in the current circumstance. I've got quite a few requests to speak. Firstly, Councillor Foster.
I think you're right. It is a devastating report, but it's a proportional report. It's a responsible report. And it's part of the relationship a councillor has with his community. We act sensibly and we act on their behalf. And I think the approach that's been taken by this council with regard to remembrance and regard to the other services, I think is a practical one, and one that we should all be getting behind. I think it is important that the service goes ahead in the best possible way. And I'm delighted to the suggestion that we YouTube the service. It does give people a chance to get involved. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to a day when we can all get together and take part in these celebrations. But I'm more than happy with the proposal as is outlined in the document. Just like to add that as well as the services that aren't run by the town council, there is a service on the village green at Tudor, which again isn't run by the town council, but it's one that the people of Tudor, both the relevant churches and the wider community do take note of, and certainly one where wreaths are regularly laid. Now, obviously, it might be worth Mr. Hanson having a quiet word with the appropriate church authorities down there to see what arrangements they are going to be making and see if we can help them and support them in any way. I would encourage as many organisations as possible to hand the wreaths in to the council, to have them displayed, to have the names read out, to reduce the number of people who are present. The danger always is, if somebody sees that somebody else is going to attend, they're going to feel obliged to want to attend themselves. And I think the maximum we can do to reduce those numbers, to make sure that the service goes ahead as best as possible, I think it's something we can all get behind and support. And it's our duty to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. And now Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Chair. On the Remembrance Day, it is important that we recognise all the people that have given their lives for our tomorrows. Can I ask, though, that there are some identification marks for people so that they know exactly where they should be standing, and maybe the council can do a map that'll make it quite clear so everybody's socially distanced is at the cenotaph itself. Can I also ask, as regard to the cemetery at York Hill, it has always been tradition that the mayor attends at the cenotaph and then moves on to the cemetery at Tudor. And I think that that tradition should continue. I would also like to say, and I'm aware that under item 4 for finance, that there is a request to move a whole load of events out of the system, which will save quite a lot of money. But the government, as it stands, are indicating we're in for a rough time for the next 6 months. We should still be able to fit in the mayoral year, perhaps a civic dinner and maybe a smaller event, fireworks, if this COVID is over. And I'm sure it would provide a lift for the residents of the town if we could at least make some provision for that within the accounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I have Councillor Kevin Thompson.
Chair, I'd just like to say Councillor Foster eloquently put what how a lot of us feel. So some of the things I was going to say is what he stated, but I'd just like to make 2 small comments. In respect to Byers Green, because of shared clergy, Byers Green will be doing their Remembrance Sunday within their 9:15 service, which usually takes place between 9:15 and 10:15. And secondly, 4.4 on the finance side, where we talked about the tax base. I've since checked, and the indicative tax base is likely this year to be slightly lower than last year. So we're not likely to be having increased income from a higher tax base. But as it is indicative, we'll see as we move along. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And Councillor Hiley.
I just want to reiterate what Councillor Foster was saying. I've put a couple of proposals to the town clerk, which I understand is now being sidestepped. If we're going to go ahead with cancelling events, and I think what Councillor Madison was saying, we should not even go that way down the line. If you continue with what is being proposed, and that the cancellations should go ahead as planned. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Hiley. I think, Councillor Madison makes a good point there about running some sort of event as and when we can, as almost a community get together and a feel good thing. And I think that is a positive idea. What we have to remember, of course, is that currently things are going in the opposite direction, and we're not getting better, we're getting worse. So it might be ambitious, but you're quite right. Let's keep the money there, and there's a potential for that, I suppose, in the future. We can always bring that back. We don't have to make any decisions on that tonight. Okay, we have a report in front of us with the recommendation in it. And the recommendation is such that members agree to the cancellation of the events outlined in 5.1. Members agree to the suggestions in 5.2, and that we waive standing orders to allow the officers to carry on with organising the service event.
I'm in the middle of that.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder?
I'll second it, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are we all in favour?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Okay. Just turn back to the agenda page. Item 12 is pumpkin and lantern displays. Members are requested to consider the report of the town clerk.
Yeah, through you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to advise members of 2 proposals from Natalie Pearson of the Helping Spennymoor Group. Prior to lockdown, Natalie and Michael Fishwick from the Youth and Community Centre approached the town clerk with an idea to hold a lantern parade in the town. This would involve children and families making lanterns and then taking part in the parade. Unfortunately, again, due to COVID, this has not been possible. However, the idea now is to have a pumpkin display in October and a lantern display in November. And this would involve children creating pumpkins and lanterns and displaying them in the windows of their homes. The town clerk has suggested that the town council could turn these into a competition and providing a first, second and third prize and judged by the town mayor. And the proposals are that the town council agree to the taking part as discussed above, and supporting these recommendations.
Thank you. Councillor Malloy, got you first. Sorry, Councillor Malloy, you're still on mute there.
Sorry, Chair. I'd put a right to speak down for the last agenda item, and I kept on getting muted.
Yeah, my apologies. I haven't. That's just come through that, and I certainly haven't muted you.
Well, it was just I put it on quite some time, and it kept on as I tried to put the speaker on. It kept on coming up saying you're being muted. So I'd just like to note that.
Okay, well that's fair enough, and for the record, that hasn't come from the chair. Okay, with regards to item 12, then pumpkin lantern displays, I've noted on the Help and Spennymoor page that there are over 200 houses signed up to this scheme already. So it seems like a great positive and one that everybody's getting involved in. It's good to be able to do some sort of an event that is COVID secure and really get a bit of community spirit going. So I think we should support this however we can. And from the chair, I would move the recommendation. Do we have a second there?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you. Are we all in favour of that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item 13 is just to note, members are requested to note that a vacancy has arisen in the grounds and estates team, and that it has been advertised now in the normal way. I've seen that on the council website, and I believe the closing date for that is towards the end of this month. Item 14 then is exclusion of the press and public, so the usual motion applies and the live stream will end here. Thank you to the public for watching.